why does your voice get tired so easily? Maybe after a song or after 30 minutes, you feel like your voice is gone and you need to rest up. Let's talk about when fatigue is normal, when it also isn't, and then I'll also share with you why resting might not be the answer that you're looking for and what to focus on instead. Now, real quick, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ivan. I'm a voice teacher who works with students from all around the world over Zoom. And really on this channel, my goal is to make learning how to sing as simple and as easy as possible. So if that is up your lane, consider subscribing in wherever you're joining me from. If you're enjoying the content that you're seeing here and you want to improve your voice faster with less headaches, I've also got ways on how you can work with me privately and also through some of my self-study programs. Links are down in the description. Last but not least, if you want to inspire our next episode, let me know down in the comments what you want me to talk about next. Anyway, let's dive back in. So let's start here. When isn't a vocal fatigue normal? Now, generally, if you get into a place where you're losing your voice, your voice feels a bit more hoarse, or even if you start to feel a bit of pain, then this is a sign to stop. Something is not working right. And if you can, this will be a good chance to get this worked out with a voice teacher. But what about when these signs aren't as obvious? Maybe you're not feeling, a lot of pain. Maybe you're not really losing your voice or getting hoarse, but maybe things just feel a bit harder. Your voice just feels a bit more heavy and just generally feels more tired. What do you do in these situations? Now, the typical advice is you just need to rest. You've already kind of exhausted those vocal muscles and they just need to recover and they'll come back stronger. And this makes sense. For a lot of you who are exploring your voice, you're going to run into this situation where your voice feels tired. You feel a general sense of fatigue pretty frequently. And so this kind of fatigue is normal. It's normal for you to go through this. And when in doubt, just rest it up. But I'm also going to make an argument here. Resting might only be a band-aid solution. Think of it like this, how long you're able to sing for, without feeling tired, without feeling that fatigue is a mixture of, strength and a mixture of coordination. Strength being like, do I literally have the muscles and are they strong enough to kind of do this act? And then coordination is, am I using the right muscles and am I using them accurately? And so yes, developing the strength in those muscles is important. But what I've found is for most people, most of you listening to this podcast, the bottleneck isn't really going to be, how strong those muscles are, but rather it's how well you can coordinate those muscles. It's your form. And I know this because I've had so many instances when I was teaching a student in a lesson and they'll come in and they'll tell me, hey, my voice feels a bit tired. Maybe they're a bit under the weather. Maybe they caught a bit of a cold. Their voice generally just feels a bit more tired and not as good as it normally is. And initially when we are vocalizing, we do notice that the voice is harder to use. Maybe it's hard for them to hit those high notes, or maybe they have to push a bit more volume to kind of make the note happen. But what's interesting is when I tweak their technique, I share with them a little tip, or maybe I give them something new to observe or to focus on. All of a sudden, they get this second wind. Maybe they're able to sing a bit higher, maybe to sing with more ease. They're able to do a bit more. Now, this wouldn't be possible if the muscles were truly fatigued, if they're truly exhausted. What I've found for a lot of my students is sometimes this perception of fatigue, the voice feels heavier, feels a bit hard to use. Often, it's not because the muscles have been overused, but rather that the technique has drifted. The way we're coordinating those muscles have become less accurate. And so what am I suggesting here? I'm not telling you that rest is not important. And I'm not telling you to go sing for hours on end because, fatigue is a made up thing. What I am suggesting is if every time you go sing a song or a couple of songs and your voice feels fatigued and you go to rest hoping that it'll be better, only to come back and do the exact same thing, you're going to end up in the exact same spot. Something needs to change. If you're coming into each practice session and you're trying to give your voice, a big vocal workout and have it feel exhausted, have it feel very, very tired, shift your focus to coordinating the voice a bit better. Rather than trying to make things hard and really kind of push through things and make sure it works, focus more on how do you actually make it easier? How do you make the movement more efficient? How do you kind of go up and down your range with less of that kind of resistance or that feeling of push? If you can do that, that's a sign that you're coordinating better versus just muscling through, warm-ups and workouts. Now, a big part of this is going to be understanding the fundamentals. What does it even feel like to stretch your vocal folds to change pitch? What does it feel like to keep them together appropriately and not over squeezing and pressing too hard? If you are interested in this, check out episode 129 and episode 131. This is where I talk a bit more in depth about these fundamentals. This could be a great place to get started. Now, of course, as you're learning to coordinate better, you're still going to pick up some fatigue. So in a sense, that is normal. But you'll notice as you come back to each session, you're able to do more and more and more with less of that fatigue that you normally pick up. Anyway, that is all. Hope this episode was useful. If it was, please share this with a friend or family or leave a 5-star if you're listening from the podcast. This really, really means the world to me. If you want to improve your voice with less of the headache, once again, links down in the description on how you can work with me. Apart from that, my name is Ivan. I'm your voice teacher. I will see you next week. Take care.